There's nothing I like about her.
He's also a fox. If you haven't noticed, my husband's very, very handsome.
She was nothing like that. She didn't speak like that. Her mannerisms weren't like that. This is all fake.
Why? Why does this woman have a podcast? Why does she have a show?
She's not important. She married for money. It's very clear she bagged the elephant. She was thrilled she became a, quote, princess.
Are you in love now more than ever?
Are you in love? How happy and beautiful is your husband?
She was a real hard-nosed LA girl. Yeah. Now she's like this, oh, I'm soft, I'm mummy, I'm this. It's all bullshit.
She's stuck because she was an actress who became a real princess, who wants to be an actress again, but has to continue to pretend to be a real princess.
But she is a malignant narcissist who cannot get enough of herself while she simultaneously plays the victim.
And Megyn started accepting all these compliments. I know I'm great, aren't I?
Just when the dust seemed to settle, if it ever truly does with Meghan Markle, she's once again making headlines, and not in the way she probably hopes.
There are times we get together and I'm like, I just want to have DoorDash come in. And you're like, let's make some. And I'm like,
no, I don't want to cook again, Megyn. My God, take a break.
Her latest venture into the podcast world, supposedly to show us the real Megyn, has instead kicked up a fresh storm of side eyes and outright disbelief.
Your voice is driving me crazy and I'm about to jump over there and put my fist down your throat.
People are already rolling their eyes, wondering if this is yet another carefully staged performance designed to polish a tarnished image. This unfiltered appearance, rather than winning hearts, seems to have only amplified the whispers and criticisms, suggesting that for many, the trust is long gone.
She was talking about full-body chills the entire time. It was just a whole emotional thing, and people cannot stop making fun of her for it.
It all feels like part of a familiar pattern, one where every attempt to control the narrative just digs a deeper hole.
Everything they do seems so manipulative, calculated, PR motivated, money motivated.
So, Megyn took to the mic on a recent podcast, The Jamie Kern-Lima Show, to pull back the curtain, or so we were told. She dived into what were presented as the raw realities of her life, talking about being a mom and a wife.
I know that I'm a great friend, and I know the kind of mom I am, and I know the kind of human being I am, and I know how I show up.
And even sharing a supposedly touching nightly ritual of writing emails to her kids, Archie and Lilibet, capturing little moments she hopes they'll treasure. It was all meant to paint a picture of a down-to-earth, hard-working mother, but the public reaction? Let's just say not everyone was reaching for the tissues. Critics almost immediately pounced, with many calling the whole thing forced and painfully inauthentic.
She's so fake and contrived and inauthentic. Like, did she actually believe genuinely that this charade would work? Like, how does she not get it after all these years?
The sentiment from some corners was almost visceral, with one commentator famously remarking it made them want to throw up.
Oh my God, I just threw up a little in my mouth.
Instead of heartfelt honesty, many saw it as just another well-rehearsed PR move. And then there were the closer looks, the forensic examination of her emotional moments. Insiders and eagle-eyed viewers were quick to point out that during a moment where she seemed to be tearing up, there wasn't an actual tear in sight, fueling claims that even her sorrow is stage-managed.
Pretending that she's crying. We zoomed in just to see. There isn't a tear in sight. Look at this.
The more she tries to show vulnerability, the more it seems to backfire, making people question if anything she presents is genuine. But if you think the questions about her podcast tears were intense, just wait until you hear what they say about her entire royal performance. Megyn's latest podcast appearance, which pretty much everyone agrees did her no favors, just added fuel to an already raging fire of doubt surrounding her. It wasn't long before heavy hitters in the media started weighing in, and some were absolutely brutal. Well-known media voice Megyn Kelly, never one to mince words, came out swinging, outright labeling Megyn a malignant narcissist.
There's nothing I like about her. But she is a malignant narcissist who cannot get enough of herself while she simultaneously plays the victim.
According to Kelly, the emotional displays weren't vulnerability. They were pure strategy. This wasn't just a casual insult. It tapped into a growing narrative that Megyn's entire royal journey was a meticulously planned operation. Critics argue that her marriage to Prince Harry wasn't a fairy tale romance, but a calculated move, a case of, as some bluntly put it, her bagging the elephant to secure fame and fortune.
She's not important. She married for money. It's very clear. She bagged the elephant. She was thrilled. She became a, quote, princess.
There are even reports from those who allegedly knew her ex-husband, claiming Megyn had a vision board with Prince Harry on it long before they even met.
She denied being interested in the royal family, which she totally was. I know someone who knows the ex-husband who said she had a vision board with Prince Harry on it.
Talk about manifesting destiny, or perhaps planning a takeover. This perception isn't helped by Megyn herself, who often comes across as desperately trying to prove something. Whether she's talking about having to prove she's pretty enough, smart enough, or a good wife, it strikes many as deeply inauthentic, especially when, as some commentators noted, she's saying this while being objectively beautiful and privileged. It's this constant effort to control the narrative and validate herself that leaves a bad taste in many mouths. And it's not just her personality under the microscope. Even her use of royal perks is raising eyebrows. If people were questioning her authenticity, Megyn's recent actions with her royal title haven't done her any favors. The latest eyebrow raiser? A jar of homemade strawberry jam. Sounds innocent enough, right? But when the label proudly declared it was from Megyn, Her Royal Highness the Duchess of Sussex, the internet and certain talk show panels had a field day.
As a working royal, you're no longer Her Royal Highness. You can't do it. Now we're learning that this came in about a year ago from her friend Megyn sent a care package to.
She was caught red-handed using Her Royal Highness. That is a title that was stripped from her. This is something that she is not allowed to use.
The ladies on The View didn't hold back, with some calling the move cringe. Co-host Alyssa Farah Griffin pointed out how odd it was for something meant to be a private gift to friends to come with such a formal, almost flex-like title.
I find it a little bit cringe to give a gift to a close friend and sign it Her Royal Highness.
Whoopi Goldberg seemed completely over it, famously quipping, "Wake me up when you're done." Even Sunny Hostin, who acknowledged the title is technically still hers, admitted that using it on personal notes for Jam felt less like a sweet gesture and more like Megyn turning even breakfast spreads into a spotlight moment. This isn't just about Jam, of course. It touches on the sensitive agreement reportedly made with the late Queen Elizabeth, which restricted how Harry and Megyn could use their HRH titles, particularly for commercial or public-facing activities.
Of her and Harry facing a ton of scrutiny over the fact that they just used Duke and Duchess of Sussex, when really they're not even supposed to be doing that, top it all off, she is literally using HRH in private, which is just even weirder.
So, seeing HRH on a jam jar, even if gifted privately, struck many as either a tone-deaf attempt to cling to a status she supposedly wanted to escape, or worse, a subtle defiance of the established royal protocols. While she's labeling Jam with royal titles, her big media projects haven't exactly been crowned with success. Her forays into the streaming world with Netflix were supposed to be her big Hollywood comeback, a chance to tell her own story and produce inspiring content. But the reality? It seems to have been a bit of a nightmare, at least critically. There are much-hyped docuseries and hints of lifestyle or cooking shows where Megyn might be baking pies or arranging charcuterie trays were met with a barrage of negative reviews. The Daily Telegraph didn't pull any punches, branding one series queasy and exhausting. Other critics slammed the content as forced and fake.
They want her to appear demure, modest. But the act of making a TV show about herself is not modest.
With one celebrity chef even claiming he faced threats of legal action from Netflix after he called her series painful to watch. Behind the scenes, the whispers were just as damning. Reports surfaced that Netflix executives were less than thrilled, with insiders suggesting the shows fell short of the massive expectations that came with their multi-million-dollar deal. There were even rumors that any discussion of a second season for some projects was more about contractual obligations than genuine excitement from the platform. It seems the content itself wasn't the only problem. For many, the star of the Megyn show is Megyn. One of the loudest criticisms leveled against Megyn's media ventures is that they often seem to be less about the supposed topic and more about, well, Megyn herself. This perception of blatant self-obsession has followed her for years. Take, for example, the now infamous speech where it's reported she managed to say the word me a staggering 54 times. 54 times. That's a level of self-reference that even the most devoted fan might find a bit much. This theme apparently carried right over into her Netflix projects. Even some of her once staunch supporters and royal correspondents admitted that her show felt strangely self-reverential. One quipped it was like watching Megyn interview Megyn, with other guests just sprinkled in for decoration. So much for that fresh, relatable vibe she promised. The overall impact, critics argue, is that her ego consistently overshadows any story she's trying to tell or recipe she's trying to share. The message gets lost because the messenger seems far too captivated by her own reflection. But if the public image is this carefully managed, alleged stories from behind the scenes paint an even more troubling picture. While Megyn projects an image of compassion and kindness to the world, stories from those who have allegedly worked closely with her paint a dramatically different and, frankly, disturbing picture. Whispers from behind the scenes, both in London and Montecito, suggest a work environment far less polished than what viewers see on screen. Alleged former staffers have come forward with shocking claims, painting Megyn as a nightmare to work for. Some didn't hold back, even reportedly calling her a demon behind closed doors. These aren't just vague complaints. They describe intense, unpredictable outbursts where she allegedly screamed at and belittled support staff. Reports consistently mention high staff turnover, with many young women, in particular, said to have quit in tears, completely worn down by the alleged treatment. It's a jarring contrast to the carefully cultivated public persona of a humanitarian and advocate for kindness. These accusations of a hostile work environment suggest the glossy production of her life might be masking some very deep tensions and a much darker reality. So, after all these headlines, podcasts, and tell-alls, what are we really left with? We've seen the questionable podcast appearances, the PR moves that seem to constantly backfire, the persistent criticisms of self-obsession, and those deeply troubling allegations from former staff. It's a pattern that's hard to ignore. Her journey could be seen as a stark cautionary tale about the relentless quest for Hollywood relevance after stepping away from royal duties, or perhaps the immense difficulty of maintaining a flawless, curated image when you're living under one of the world's most powerful microscopes. It certainly makes you wonder about the inner workings of the modern star-making machine and what happens when the public narrative starts to seriously unravel. Is Meghan Markle a master manipulator, skillfully playing the victim card? Is she genuinely misunderstood and unfairly targeted by a hostile media? Or is the truth somewhere murkier in between? More importantly, after so many perceived missteps and with public opinion so divided, is there any way for her to genuinely redeem her image? Or is the PR game finally up? What do you think? Is Megyn being authentic? Or is this all just part of an elaborate performance? Let us know your theories and opinions down in the comments. We really want to hear your take on this.